Project portfolio can have a number of detours that skip or consolidate the process, procedures and activities. Changes are dependent on urgency and importance of a need and the level of risk an organization is willing to absorb. Online-PMO hopes everyone understands that every process, procedure, activity and task can be tailored to best meet the specific needs of the organization and the project. Every organization needs to establish tailoring criteria and guidelines. Flexibility in tailoring and defining processes is balanced with ensuring appropriate consistency of processes across the organization. Flexibility is needed to address contextual variables such as the domain, the nature of the customer, cost, schedule, and quality trade-offs, the technical difficulty of the work, and the experience of the people implementing the process. Consistency across the organization is needed so that organizational standards, objectives, and strategies are appropriately addressed, and process data and lessons learned can be shared. Tailoring is a critical activity that allows controlled changes to processes, due to the specific needs of a project or a part of the organization. Processes and process elements that are directly related to critical business objectives should usually be defined as mandatory, but processes and process elements that are less critical, or only indirectly affect business objectives may allow for more tailoring. The amount of tailoring could also depend on the project's life cycle model, the use of suppliers, and other factors. Enough about tailoring, let's get back to project portfolio. Adjust project portfolio is the initial screening into project portfolio. Many potential projects are evaluated based on how they score on the initiative request form. In addition to the project initiation form, some organizations develop a must-meet and should-meet criteria that are evaluated against each project. A no answer to must-meet criteria eliminates the potential project from consideration. Examples of must-meet criteria can include alignment to the business and strategic objectives, positive value, benefits exceed risks, and lack of significant barriers. A no answer to should-meet criteria is not necessarily a showstopper. Should-meet criteria include the degree to which the project aligns with the business and strategic objectives, market attractiveness, like size, growth, competition, and solution advantages, like unique differentiators, patent potential. Scoring models are used to weigh and score criteria. The cumulative numbers are calculated for each project. The higher scores indicate more favorable characteristics in a project. Projects can be categorized into one of the following three areas. First, run the business. Required investments to keep the operations running. Next, grow the business. These are investments that expand the organization's scope of product and services. The third is transform the business. These investments involving project-based spending that creates new services to broaden an enterprise's reach to enter new, untapped markets, for example through new business ventures, mergers and acquisitions, new solutions, emerging and breakthrough technologies, new geographies, business process outsourcing. These categories provide a guideline for organizations to use in maintaining sufficient funding for each of these areas, assuring investments are balanced in all three categories according to the objectives and priorities of the company. The remainder of Adjust Project Portfolio will briefly describe the work activities and outputs. Work activities are the processes, analysis, and assessments that occur within each stage. Outputs are the deliverables, products, or services that result from the work activities. The descriptions and information should be treated as a possible reference or starting point in defining or maturing a project portfolio process that would be appropriate for a particular organization. Take a few seconds and look over the work activities. Take a few more seconds, and look over the outputs for Adjust Project Portfolio. Manage Portfolio Execution translates business plan into physical deliverables that can be assessed. Heavy spending happens during Manage Portfolio Execution. Provides a detailed assessment of the project investment against the portfolio. Take a few seconds and look over the work activities. From Manage Portfolio Execution through the end of the project phase, both the project and program status that ties to a particular project can be monitored and tracked through a dashboard. Take a few more seconds, and look over the outputs for Adjust Project Portfolio. Implement projects and programs, checks actual versus projected costs, schedule, milestones, test, go to implement and deploy, and validates feasibility, viability, costs, and benefits with more robust solution. Take a few seconds and look over the work activities. Take a few more seconds, and look over the outputs for Adjust Project Portfolio. Assess Value is the last activity. This is where a post-implementation review is conducted. Take a few seconds, and look over the work activities and outputs for Assess Value. Online-PMO processes provides organizations with an excellent framework from which to customize their particular strategies and objectives, design, management, and execution needs.